Welcome back, you guys. This is the Art School Graduate. Today, I have a phenomenal guest, and let me just give you a little bit of background about who this person is. Today's guest is a designer, creative strategist, and author who's redefining what it means to build a career in the sports design industry. We're talking hustle, purpose, design, and the power of showing up for your dreams consistently. You guys got to understand that. You got to be consistent. But my guest today will explain everything on how to be consistent. My guest is Judah, aka Tip Middleton. Tip, how are you doing?
What's up? What's up? I'm good. Doing pretty well. Doing pretty well.
Thank you. Thank you. Tip, it's an honor to have you on the podcast. Maurice gave me his blessing. And when I went through and was going through his podcast, listening to conversations, I was very much intrigued about yours because we were talking off camera about sports and how we need to find a way to make those paths cross into design and product design. And I think you have illustrated it wonderfully. So let's talk about from the top. You started off as a designer and you said that designing in the sports industry wasn't a dream, but it was a calling. Can you break down like what that meant and what was that moment that kind of flipped the light switch in your head to say that?
I'm from Alabama. My entire life has always been sports between football and basketball. Grew up in a basketball family, so I actually had a cousin that played in NBA. And going to NBA games for the first time was like this lifestyle or this thing that I had never experienced before. But I'm also big into art and computers at the time. So sports design just kind of followed me. I played basketball in high school, and then in college, I started working for the Auburn football team, and it was just like a different gateway into like I'm 5'3", like
Yeah.
140. So I wasn't gonna play basketball pro, and definitely not football at the time, which nowadays like women are playing football, but um, it was just a way for me to basically do two things that I love the most: be around sports, be around the culture and the community, and like be a visual like artist person. I always fell in love with Nike from a very young age. I just feel like it was a way to stand out from the crowd. And maybe sometimes in life, like a small town and stuff, everything seems regular or the same, and nobody seems like they're doing much, or a lot of people lived in struggle. And so seeing my cousin make it to the NBA, like the pride of the gated community, being able to go out of town for the first time and see people I never seen before, it was like this pathway in life that just seemed like a whole new world.
And I'm glad you said that because um you said that you didn't see many people look like you doing what you wanted to do.
Mhm.
So what impact did that have on your creative journey? And like, how did you forgive me, how did you overcome that? Because I know for some of us, we kind of hit that imposter syndrome when we get in certain spaces. So how did you push through?
Uh, to be honest, like it was very difficult, right? Like I said, I very much looked up to basketball players, rappers. Like Lil Baby is I'm a big fan of Lil Baby. The look of the rapper and the basketball, especially like growing up in the '90s, early 2000s, like Cash Money, Lil Wayne, all of that is like it's a pride for the community, you know? And so to be like a designer or more like a nerd type, you know what I'm saying? Like, how do I be myself but also fitting into the office? Like I have dreadlocks and tattoos and chains sometimes. So in the beginning it was difficult because I did try to like conform to it,
Mhm.
but I wasn't able to be my most creative self because I am my biggest creation. You know what I'm saying? Like who I am when I walk into the room, this is really gonna say more than my portfolio will most of the time. And so I started to actually dive into that and like really um accept it and like push it forward and not hide behind it, which is why I go by like Judah, but also like Tip is a name that I'm often called. Sometimes it's like socials. Tip is something that a name that's been with me since a child. And then Judah is a name that I feel like made sense for me as like a black person living in like this corporate environment and places. And also it's a like nod to God of like thankful, as
Mhm.
my life has transitioned through things. Really during like COVID and 2020 when everything happened with Breonna Taylor, I started to realize that like my purpose in life wasn't necessarily design. It was more so to be seen in a place that we're not seen in, like be a pathway for others to follow in it.
Mhm.
So it kind of like I have this blog or like Twitter account called Trenches that I highlighted designers for like probably 8 or 9 years. And when the Breonna Taylor thing happened, I started to like more so post about Black lives and try to find more Black designers. And
Mhm.
I started to get more pushback. The numbers started to fall. So it really like changed the way I view design in a sense and the design community because it was kind of like they praise us when we're on the field and they use us to create art, but none of us are creating the art of us. And they also don't want to talk about it in a way. So it really made me more so focus on Black designers, Black creators, especially Black women, Black queer people, non-binary folks, just I really started to look at myself and like, who are the people that are like me or similar to me or same backgrounds, and how can I like introduce this thing that has opened a lot of doors for me in my life to them, while also still being able to navigate in it. Because sometimes it's like it could be a fear of like, oh, if I go in fully as myself, maybe I'm not accepted. And I have been very, very fortunate to have like pretty much every job I've been in, people have been very accepting and very opening and stuff like that.
That's
Um,
amazing.
but for some people, like, maybe they didn't have those opportunities or have those privileges and stuff. So I started to feel like it was more of my responsibility in life to get back, which is why I end up writing like the book and I want to go like deeper into that. And then I have like mentees and stuff. I've done some conferences, like digital online conferences during COVID with like all Black women in sports. And I also started to look at it from not just Black designers or Black content creators, like social media photographers, pretty much anybody that's working behind the scenes in the sports industry, which is a lot of different things because design can be so niche. Um,
Yes.
so I really started to just try to like give away a lot of knowledge that had been gatekept for a long time, as much as I could.
Mm. Yeah, that we had that conversation prior to to recording about how I feel like if many athletes knew what's in your book, which we will definitely touch on, I think they would probably see a way of branding themselves and understanding how they can, and they don't need to have a whole team. They can have
Yeah.
2 or 3 people on them that can help them just push forward the idea they already started for themselves. So I'm just curious, what kept you going on this path when it wasn't clear? Because it seems like you're very much from where you're from your family. You're a one of one, which is super unique. So what kept you going when it wasn't clear? Because I felt like you just hopped off the porch and then you stood there and you're like, well, let's see how this goes. So how did that path work for you? How did you clear that up for yourself?
I mean, I feel like I could never go back. You know what I'm saying? I have like 7 nieces and nephews. I'm the youngest of my siblings, but really the only one that's ever lived out of state before. So I feel like within my family, my community, people I've been in college and stuff, like I had, I guess just this fire inside. It was like, this is where I want to go. Like I said, my first NBA game I ever seen, like it just, like my goal was to work in the NBA or to work at Nike. So
Mhm.
I ended up not doing it, but kind of pivoting with like ESPN and stuff. But like ever since I was first exposed to that, I just never got it out of my mind. Like, it was just something about it that was, like, intoxicating, and then going to school at Auburn and going to a football game on a Saturday night
Yeah.
is like nothing I've seen before. I mean, I've been to Staples Center, I've been to the Garden, I've been to a lot of places, but, like, in the South at nighttime in Jordan Hare or even at Bryant-Denny, like, it's a different vibe. It's almost like you go into a different world.
Mhm.
So I think every time I'm able to experience something like that or experience a game or an event or to see my work on TV or on the app or something, it pushes me just a little bit more. It keeps
Mhm.
pushing me, pushing me, pushing me. Or like having my mentee get a job with the NFL or now she works for the Dallas Cowboys. So to see her doing work over there is like,
Amazing.
yeah, like it's like dang, like this small thing I do on the computer because I always been like a computer person. Like
Mhm.
I love sports and stuff, but I'm a big nerd, you know. So
Mhm.
being able to see that type of stuff is like it just inspires me. And
Mhm.
when it inspires me, it's not work, it's more like creating art.
Mhm.
Like it's like somebody will be creating music or something. Like I see a player that just got a swag or a talent or a move, like even now, in my free time, I work with like this women's flag football league,
Mhm.
and there's some players out there that might be 40 years old, 20, 30, and I mean, they got a girl that kicks like 30, 40-yard field goals. Like, she could probably kick field goals for, like, a
That's
college
crazy.
level, like, and
Yeah.
she's the smallest person I ever seen in my life, but she kicks field goals, like, consistently. So to see stuff like that, and I mean, when she runs, it's like she breaking ankles, like, some of the stuff I've seen just
Mhm.
in the middle of Georgia, like, in this hidden community, it inspires me so much to create, and that's why I keep going. Like, I've had times where, like, the logistics of stuff or, like, the environments have definitely been draining at times, but, like,
Yeah.
anytime the players or a game or something, I just get inspired. Even, like, Deion Sanders, like, the fact that he's coaching his son, put him in the NFL, like,
Mhm.
sports inspire me. It inspires the world. I mean, I'm not a person that sits and watch an entire game. I can't do it because 'cause I'm very much ADHD, like, fully a creative, but I can sit,
Yeah.
find a photo, recreate a graphic, make it a bigger deal than,
Yeah.
by just static. Like, it just inspires me,
Yeah.
honestly. It inspires me to keep going every day. I'm always seeing something. It's always a new athlete. Like, I'm really at a point in life where you start to think like I said, here in Georgia, they have kids that's like 4 or 5 at the park, like, doing, like, hill hurdles and stuff like that,
Wow. Yeah.
like, that young. So to see that type of stuff is, like, it's really a hustle because, like I said, I am very much privileged in a way of being
Mhm.
able to come through this path, just because like, my parents did set me up in a way that I'm aware
Mhm.
some people didn't have those opportunities, but to see other people, like, find opportunities out of nowhere, like, you just gotta put in the work, so
Mhm.
to see a little kid doing hurdles and then 5, 10, 20 years down the road, like, they're in the NFL and stuff like that, it just
Yeah.
you can't not be inspired by that. Like, even Kobe, he was the player I hated the most, but it's
Oh, no.
not not a Kobe fan at all. Like, I was an AI fan on real, like, on
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
where
yeah.
Kobe inspired me. Like, even Giannis, I was not a Giannis fan. Then I saw, like, his story and his life, and it's like a lot of times, especially nowadays,
Mhm.
people don't actually wanna work or do anything. We have social media make stuff seem so fast.
Yeah.
But to see somebody get out there every day and grind and grind and grind, literally do the same thing over and over again, like, very boring. But when it's game day, it just changes the whole vibe. So
Mhm.
that just inspires me because I think that's one of the greatest stories you could tell as a person, especially in America. Like, look at Messi or Ronaldo, soccer guys. Like, it's a lot of people that have bad situations that they're born into,
Mhm.
but with their athletic abilities, it not only changes their lives, their family's lives, but like the world. So that type of inspiration, I don't know how other people can't be inspired by it.
Well, the one thing we're gonna probably disagree on is being an LA kid, like, you can't let you just rip Kobe like that, man.
Kobe, Kobe stopped AI from getting one ring. You know what I'm saying? He just
Yeah, he
needed
did.
one. He just needed one.
Hey, he didn't have to step over Tehran like that. Tehran Lue, when he stepped over him, everybody was like, "Yeah, we gotta put him away. He can't come to LA and do that." But and then the other thing we're gonna disagree on, I'm a Georgia fan. I'm a Dogs fan, man. I am.
Okay, hold on. How you LA, but you a Georgia fan?
So let me explain it to you. I'm the only kid from my parents. My dad's from Georgia, my mama's from Memphis. I'm the only one born in California. All my siblings are born in the South. That's how that happened. Yeah.
I mean, look, I'm a Auburn fan, and it's very terrible right now. I be trying to jump and leave, but I got so many ties to the school keep pinning me down. So honestly, yeah, it's bad being an Auburn fan right now. Actually, my first year as an Auburn fan, we won the championship, and then my last year, we lost in the championship to FSU. But since then, we've been terrible.
I'm so sorry. You know what, Georgia, we are always accepting new dogs to come join us. So we will leave that gate open anytime. But so I digress. But let's step into your book. In free game, you said pick your playground. What does that mean?
It really means like you got to pick the field that you want to play in and really like tap into that as much as you can. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't be like, "Oh, I wanna play running back, then I wanna be a DB, then I wanna be a cornerback." Like,
Mhm.
you're gonna be a running back, you need to really understand, like, the ins and outs of it.
Mhm.
So for me, that's like, if you wanna be design router, if you wanna work with a certain team, like, I was so, like, focused on what I wanted to do, like, I didn't even apply for jobs that weren't sports design jobs,
Mhm.
right? And then I wouldn't even apply for teams that I didn't actually cheer for.
Mhm.
And then I went and emailed everybody that worked on those that I could find access to.
Mhm.
Like, it was just so, like, I didn't have a plan B. Like,
Mhm.
I just focused on the one playground I was in. And I
Mhm.
didn't go to other playgrounds. I didn't go to other parks, seeing what type of stuff they got over there. Like, I went to the same park every day and just tried to build from that. You know what I'm saying?
So I can tell from just a little bit in our previous conversation, storytelling is huge in visual identity for you. So how did your personal relationship with basketball help inform, I'm going to go the storytelling approach to make sure the visual identity in anything is going to be dynamic?
So you remember that commercial when it was like, it gotta be the shoes.
Yeah.
Okay, we're like 25 years in and people still wearing those Jordans, right? Because it gotta be the shoes.
Yeah.
It wasn't that, like, I can't tell you if I ever seen Michael Jordan play a full game again, but I can tell you every commercial they ever had, they had Michael Jordan in it, like
Mhm.
a big movie kid, right? Like, I love movies because, like I said, I grew up in a place where there was literally nothing, right? No movie theater. We barely had a McDonald's, like, no fun or nothing, so TV was like a gateway to, like, this new galaxy,
Yeah.
and my parents didn't have cable, so we had, like, 5 channels, so when I did see, like, a Nike commercial or start to use the internet at a sister's house, I started to have access to these things that it just seemed like, I never seen black people do this before. I never seen, like, a dude run like Jordan or jump like Jordan.
Mhm.
Never seen one pull up in a Lamborghini like that, the commercials.
Mhm.
It just made black people look like superheroes.
Yeah.
And so for me, that storytelling aspect, like, I like Miami because I watched the 30 for 30 like the U and to know the story about the
Yeah.
skill, where how, like, they vibed and how the different players, like, you could watch a game and it's boring to me unless I
Yeah.
really understand it. But, like, to know, like, what the player went through, like, knowing Allen Iverson had went to jail from the bowling thing through a
Mhm.
racism thing and then was able to get back. When you know somebody's story, when you can relate to somebody on, like, the paths of life and they inspire you, I think that's the greatest thing we could do as human beings is to tell a
Mhm.
story. Because if we live life and don't understand the stories of our ancestors or people next to us, we're almost not living
Mhm.
if you don't know stories.
Mhm.
So in visual art, that's all it is just a storytelling. You know, like, you could read it, but once you see it, it becomes real. Like, first it starts with an idea in the head,
Mhm.
and then it starts with words. Once it has an image, once you see an image, it's hard to unsee that.
Yeah. It
Like,
really
people
is.
can never see Michael Jordan as number 2, number 3, number 4 because his image is so solidified.
Mhm.
Like, it don't matter what LeBron does, Michael Jordan's image as the greatest basketball player, I
Yeah.
don't think anybody will ever be able to take it away because the image is so ingrained in people's heads. So it's all about a story. To be honest, he might not have actually been the greatest player because if Magic Johnson had the same marketing as Michael
Oh
Jordan
yeah.
or some of the other cats, like, it would have been different. Or if Steph Curry would have been with Nike, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Mm.
you got
Yeah.
other athletes that if they was with the right shoe company or marketing team, it could have made it like
Mm.
Michael Jordan might not be because I rarely hear the conversation of Michael Jordan and Steph Curry. I only hear the conversation of Michael Jordan and LeBron. It's because you hear so many stories about LeBron and the marketing and the Nike, but you don't really see no Steph Curry commercials like that. It's like, damn, I gotta go get the new Currys. I don't even think people wear them on the feet. So if Steph Curry had like a marketing plan that told the story of his
Mhm.
life like that, I mean, think about it. During COVID, there was nothing going on outside ESPN. The biggest thing in the world at that time was to watch the like series with Michael Jordan,
Yeah.
like The Last Dance.
Yeah.
That was like
It.
watching football game. That's how much the storytelling of his life is important. So as a designer, a photographer, videographer, social content, even like dudes that do skits on
Mhm.
Instagram, the best ones, they actually tell the story of the human experience.
Yeah.
And that's what visuals are. Like if you got a good camera and good footage and stuff, you could put out a Tubi movie and people gonna watch it. But if the image isn't there, like if you don't look like an athlete, if you don't look like the character that you're playing, nobody will believe it.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're going to stay in basketball for a minute, and this is going to just be kind of your thought on it. What NBA players now are doing an excellent job of storytelling with their shoes or with their brand? Give me your top 3. Just give me 3. Let's see what you got.
I'll just give you one.
Ooh.
Anthony Edwards.
I was hoping you were going to say that. We right here. I was hoping you were going to say that.
Look, his game, the conversations, the talk, the shoe trash. Like the shoe trash. I ain't even gonna lie, the shoe so trash, but the commercial's so good. I'm very like I got the shoes in my cart right now. Like and I got a bad shoe addiction. I got like 100 shoes. And his commercials and the swag and stuff is convincing me to buy those Adidas.
Yeah,
Which is crazy.
it
Or
is.
like the iced tea commercial with the bag and stuff. Like that's what I'm saying. That type of storytelling. Now, if Anthony Edwards and that whole like team was on Nike, I think he probably would pass Michael Jordan, to be honest.
I honestly agree.
Yeah, like if it wasn't Adidas, because you know, folks in my hood, they don't wear Adidas like that. You know what I'm saying? If it weren't for Adidas and it was like Nike or even New Balance, I think it would change it. But like I said, it's getting so close. If you make it to the finals, it might actually change it.
Yeah.
Like because Adidas don't have Yeezy no more, you know what I'm saying? And the shoes might need like 3 more different colorways for people to really tie on to them. But it's like you really getting to know him, right? Like you getting to know his vibe, his swag, the talk.
Yeah.
And then he's anti being the face of the league, which is making him even more the face of the league. And he's a Georgia boy, so it's like you just see the commercials and like, damn, I need a movie from this. Like it's so fly. Like the best storytelling, especially NBA, is like you want to have the player that people want to like wait in line, wait after the game to go see, bring their kids and stuff.
Yeah.
And you got, honestly, Jason Tatum got some fire shoes, but he's so boring, which I understand, which is why he's a winner.
Yeah.
He's so boring, like, it don't catch on. But between Ja and Anthony, like, it's just like, it's like they rappers, basically.
So
They got a rapper swag.
they do. But let's look at Anthony for a minute, right? His commercial, I think that caught my attention was with all the negative tweets. And he was like, bet. He was like, tell that boy come see me. Like when he was on their heads like that, I was like, this is brilliant. I have no idea who sat there and said, let's turn these negatives to him popping off. Because once he did that, I think that streamlined his popularity with everybody. It's like, to me, that's the one I saw for me. What about you?
So I'll say with that, like being in rooms like that, somebody had to say it's okay for him to be like
Him.
straight. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because a lot of times the reason stuff doesn't like pop is because it gotta look a certain way, it gotta be a certain way. But somebody in that room was like, we're not even gonna do anything but just let him be him. So I'll say that is the authentic like brand, right? Like sometimes we try to be things we're not, or we try to like tape something to put something together. But in branding and design and stuff is really like I said, for me, like my designs or my style is not the same as my coworkers. Like it's different. Like even when I tried to be the same, like it's gonna have a little bit of a different swag, or like I said, I might pop in the Zoom with the hat on, you know, like
Yeah.
'cause that's just who I am, right?
Yeah.
And you got some that's like, oh, like we're not doing this. It needs to be a little bit more like professional, you know. But then it's like, what is professional? So I think with Adidas, like they really let him be him, and it actually showed because people don't like professional stuff or cookie cutter stuff. They like authentic life stuff. And one thing we know about social media is lots of negative comments. One thing we know about the NBA, all of that, it feeds off of the negative comments. So to actually address that, it's like bringing the elephant in the room that everybody already sees, but you put it on a platform. Honestly, my favorite AD thing was a Sprite commercial that he had when he was like delivering gifts. It I haven't seen
Yeah.
commercials like that in a long time. Like,
Yeah.
I'll really compare him to the rapper, the Baby. Like, I feel like he was one of the rappers that brought back those like 2000 type of
Mhm.
videos where it's like Nutty Professor recreations.
Yeah.
People love stories. Like most people want to escape from life. Like the reality of it, we live in a very difficult time right now. Like it is for me, 2020 was very difficult with the world changing, and then even now with new president stuff, like and the finances, like the world is pretty dark most of the time.
Yeah.
People need something that feel like is exciting, that is
Yeah.
fun, that is options and is hope. Like really, I think when you do storytelling, especially in this space, you're selling hope and like an outlet
Mhm.
because some people don't have communities or don't have families or don't have a lot of friends. But if you an Auburn fan and I see you, I'm just like worried, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you're a Bulldogs fan, like if you a fan of someone and you traveling, like I've been all over the place. If I'm in London and I see somebody with an Auburn shirt, like it instantly is a connection and it reminds me of home and our family and stuff. And sometimes that's what we need in the world because
Mm.
it's just so important for people to feel connected. So the storytelling is a way for people to connect. And when people connect, they feel seen. So it's
Mhm.
actually like making a person and a thing feel connected and seen.
Mhm.
And I think that's one of the deepest things you could do as a human being is being seen, feeling seen, going to a game and being able to just be yourself. Everybody got on jerseys, like, yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about career things for you for a minute. So you were a designer, came in with it, and now you pivoted to becoming a production designer. Now, was that a hard pivot? Was there a lot of learning on the go? How did that shift your creative pool a little bit?
So just to clarify, so right now I'm a product designer. So like
Oh,
UX UI, yeah.
yeah.
Which I have done production design before. So I guess I can explain like the different types of design because
Please
sometimes
do.
it is quite confusing and complex. So a
Yes.
graphic designer is somebody that would basically do like recruiting graphics or posters or emails or ads.
Mhm.
They're gonna be using like either digital stuff, which could be technically called the digital designer because graphic is more like print, so it's kinda aged out a little bit because
Mhm.
everything is so, like, digital heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah, graphic is gonna be the basics of all design essentially because in school, you're essentially taught, like, typography, spacing, layouts, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Whereas product design so, like I said, when I was at ESPN in the beginning, I worked on, like, ESPN, Snapchat, social media, Instagram,
Mhm.
a little bit of everything over there doing graphic design, but also animation, like we had ESPN Snapchat stories and stuff,
Mhm.
and then I may make graphics or I done a lot of jersey swaps in my life, which I could clarify as production design because it's a
Mhm.
lot of like technical work.
Mhm.
And then I switched teams at ESPN and was more like a storytelling web designer in a way. And that got me interested in product design. Product design is essentially like this app or like the Instagram app, like how our user navigates. So I'll say graphic design is more marketing, right? I'm trying to
Mhm.
sell like a product or an image or a story to people. And then what is graphic design? And then product design is more like not architecture in a way, but it's like how a person navigates the web or how they navigate like a website or app or what like buttons do they push and what is the user flow. So honestly, it's a lot more like high level thinking and strategy than actually like executing and like stylistics of graphic design. Which I still do graphic design like on the side in ways, but it made more sense logically for me in my career because my last kind of graphic design job was as like a marketing art director for FanDuel.
Mhm.
So probably like 2020, 2021, I done a lot of like ads for their NFL campaign, which were all over New Jersey and some other cities where gambling was allowed. So I kind of got into the sports betting world right before like it was everywhere now. And then I transitioned there and went to Fanatics, which when I first got here, I was back at graphic design doing like trading cards.
Yeah.
So essentially, like I started my first job after Auburn was like baseball, basketball cards at Panini America in Dallas years ago. And then I ended up coming back to Fanatics to work for the same guy I was gonna work for in Dallas, but at Fanatics. And
So
then I did that for like a couple of months and realized I wanted to get back into product because I just feel like everything is app in the world. Like we have AI, like you could generate lots of designs and graphics now, and not that it's dying out, but like it just makes sense to, like I said before, everything starts as an idea or thought. So instead of focusing so much on the image and visual of what things should look like focusing on what the things should be before they're even invented, and
Got it.
then decide what they look like. So it's taking everything I learned as a graphic designer, but now coming into the thinking of it, or like the writing of it, or like the entire, like, it's like instead of doing art for a football player or football team, it's almost creating one in a way. And so it's just a higher level, higher calling for me personally.
was that a hard pivot, or did you find did you find yourself fitting in like, oh, okay, this is a natural progression for me in my career?
Yeah, it was pretty natural. And it was times where like I have gotten like contacted from like NBA teams that's like offer me a role that's essentially a dream job, but I've
Yeah.
like I've been hesitant about it. Of like, no, it the sports world is such a fast paced environment, and sometimes it can be like a really, really grind on folks. Like
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of really talented designers like really get like phased out of it in a way.
Burnt out.
Yeah, like so I still keep up with it and heavy on it, but I try to keep because I love it so much, it's like sometimes it makes sense to like be a little bit away from it in a sense.
Got you.
But
So
I
No,
also
go ahead.
say, working with the women's flag football teams, that's kind of giving me the control and autonomy to do the graphic design, the social media, all the things that I've done at ESPN or other places, but I have a lot more control on it. Like I decide what to post, who to
Yeah.
post. So more so, I start to look at it as finding ownership.
Mhm.
Yeah.
so I can tell through our conversation that you really emphasize creating with intention. So now that you're in this new position, how do you determine what kind of content a team or person or brand actually needs to thrive?
Well, I'll say like so with the role I'm in right now as far as product design is more so like figuring out what a user needs, right? So like I mean, the graphic and the product design are like two different worlds. It's like being a player and then being a coach are like figuring out the plays and what play to call and like how to work against a different team. So with the product design, a lot of my time is focused on like what the problems are, finding the problems, and then finding solutions to the problems.
Mm.
But then my time with like the women's football team is a little bit different because I'm identifying players and I'm finding each player with a different story or a different trait. Like I said, so we have one player, Lil T, she kicks the field goals. Then we have another player, Lil Bit, aka Sonic, like she's a defensive back. And they're both very particular players because they have like these backgrounds and these stories, but then their personality and their personalities are
Mhm.
different. So finding ways to market them on social media, to highlight their skills and like also help them develop their brand so people can kind of understand who they are.
Mhm.
You know, find ways to grow their career on and off the field. So it's like being able to identify talent and then finding ways to present that talent to the world,
Okay.
which could go
Yeah.
into everything that I've done. It's just like finding gems in a lot of like rocks in a way.
Ooh.
Like wherever you're in the world trying to find like that one gem or the one it factor or the storyline. When there's a lot of storylines and stuff like with social media, and the internet, just in general, even marketing emails, right? What player or image or product is going to stand out and make people want to use what you're selling?
Mm.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I was curious about that. That was a very like thorough explanation on that. Just because I know being in this different position now, you're going to, like you said earlier, you're going to be thinking a lot more. You're kind of away from the pen and paper aspect of it. So, what's your approach? Because I kind of had two questions, but I'm gonna go with this one first. So, what's your approach to making these pieces feel like official and personal to the client or the person or the brand?
So I guess I'll explain a little bit. So I work at Fanatics Collectibles and we sell like baseball, basketball, NBA, Star Wars type of cards. And so the projects that I worked on have been like internal B2B marketplace tools that allows like hobby shops or people who are selling our products to purchase the product. So my goal is to figure out the best way, like for those people to come onto the website, navigate through it, purchase what they need to, contact who they need to. Like basically, I need to figure out what they need, when they need it, how they need it, what tools or sections or things that they would need to be able to like do their job essentially. So it's like it's heavy pen and paper too, because a lot of it is you have to map it out before you draw it up. So it's still like I'll say with all design, if you don't start on pen and paper, like it just makes it more difficult to do anything.
And I think you said something that was very important. You said designers should always think about where it's going to live, where the work is going to live. Can you break that down for us?
So that comes down to sizing, right? So it's like, are people going to view it on their phone? Are they going to view it in their car? Is it going to be in the train station? Like, say I had some stuff that was in like New York. So it's like, if people are walking home through the subway, like, where is it going to be? Like, do the colors need to be dark? Do they need to be lighter? Like, if they're driving like in Europe North and it's more cloudy, like, think about the colors, the sizes, like if you have to crop something. So at FanDuel, we maybe had like 40 or 50 different sizes that like one graphic had to be in. And that was kind of difficult because it's like if you crop it to as small as and then as large as, they might not even be the same graphic. So I was trying to figure out like, I'll, I'll say this. A lot of times we focus like on one little thing, but you have to look at it holistically, which I feel like I'm having to do in my life right now. Like, I think sometimes as designer or creative, you could just focus on this one little corner or this one little thing that's not right. But when you're building something that needs to go somewhere, you have to think larger scale, and then you have to be okay with like it not being perfect because it's cropped here or it's messed up here. Like, you ever made a graphic or something that you love so much, and or a flyer, and then somebody just picked it up and threw it away? Just small things like that, yeah. Or even with like the jerseys I did for the soccer leagues, like
Mm.
from the top of the stadium, like are people gonna be able to see that versus like on the bottom, or like is it gonna get confusing? So just trying to figure out what works when and like take yourself out of it and what would like a person that has never seen this before think or see.
Now, does that challenge the way does it challenge your process and how you work by having to think, okay, this is going in Milwaukee. Okay, what's in Milwaukee? They got trees, they got nature, they got this versus how something is designed in New York. Like, say it's two billboards, hypothetically.
Mhm.
Like, do you really does that really change the way you work because you're just like, okay, let's see, I have to think about this, this, and that? Or do you still follow the same kind of steps in your process of design?
So it depends on if it is like a ad, I guess, focused on like one thing, or if the ad is focused on environment. So during my time at ESPN years ago, it was before LeBron went to the Lakers and he was like a free agent. And so we hired a designer or artist from each state to represent each NBA team. And they had to essentially create a billboard that would live in their city that was like focused on their city, but focused on getting LeBron to come to the city. So, and I art directed that project. And so I would say that's one of those where it's like the LA poster had to make sense compared to like the Milwaukee poster or the Heat poster, and each one was like tied in. So kind of going back to storytelling, like what story could people in LA only tell for LeBron, and what story could people in Cleveland tell that other people can't tell, or what can Miami tell that other people can't tell because he won 2 championships there. So understanding the stories, which today I was kind of thinking about like NFL teams and stuff and how they select their colors. So like, why the Raiders black and white and gray, but then like Raiders fans, like they're all dressed up in different outfits and stuff. So understanding the stories, the cultures, in the cities, and then like what aligns most with what you're making.
So do you find that for you to be a fully immersive designer, do you think you have to travel to these places to get a better understanding? or is it just behind the computer, tons of research and conversations with other creatives at the table?
It depends on what you're making. So, like, how we talked about AD,
Mhm.
like, I think if you're a designer or, like, a industrial designer that's working on those shoes or even, like, his marketing and campaign stuff, you would basically have to go sit with him and spend time with him and understand him and go to his closet and clothes and family and like figure out what vibes or what, you know, he's a darker skinned guy. So what colors go better with his skin, which I thought the kind of like salmon pink, I would say, that they're using in those commercials really align with his skin color, like his tonal and stuff. So just really like understanding the environments of nature that we utilize and creating art with that.
Mhm.
Versus I think some people feel creating art, creating designs, or creating products when they focus so much on things that's already made versus like the inspiration that nature gives us. So
Mhm.
like Tinker Hatfield is one of my favorite shoe designers because like a lot of the shoes were based off of like things that MJ Light versus like his cars or Ferraris or even a black cat, it has like the eye like the animal or the black cat. So or like the elephant print skin.
Yeah.
Those things we're basically taking like real world stuff and making it into a shoe, a phone, a tattoo, or anything. But just finding inspiration outside. So it's good to not that you have to go where the thing is, but it's good to spend time outside of the computer.
Good. Yeah. I try to tell my kids that all the time. I'm like, just go outside and go for a walk. You don't have to, not everything's gonna come to you through chat or through a Google or Pinterest or any of these searches. Sometimes disconnecting will allow your brain to kind of rewire itself for creativity. So let's take a step into this one piece we were talking about before we got on. I mean, you've taken all the knowledge you had and you applied it with this collaboration with the Major League Soccer, Atlanta United. Could you share with us about that whole process and story and journey?
Yeah, so basically it was the like entire like MLS, which is
Mhm.
like all the soccer teams in the United States.
Mhm.
So that's LA, New York, Portland Timbers. It was for a Juneteenth celebration.
Mhm.
So we did like this collaborative box and jerseys to represent like African American culture, freedom. And for me, it was a very cool project because I had never been to a soccer game. So I was able to take my entire family to a soccer game. Atlanta United was like nice enough to allow me to bring my entire family, like 20 people, and enjoy a game and really like see the jerseys in person.
Mhm.
Uh, for that project, like, that was one of the rare projects that I, like, just started, like, scribbling on paper, like, different designs and looks and
Mhm.
stuff, and the one we, like, finalized was essentially how each person is, like, a different shape, but if you look far away, they're all connected to each other.
Mhm.
So it's kinda like life of, like, we all seem different, but from far away, we just
Mhm.
all the same, just a
Mhm.
pattern connected. And then, like, the slogan was, like, freedom to be, so it was a very
So,
cool project, yeah.
what was it like designing for like a major league where your work not only represents the players, but like the city, the culture, like where you grew up kind of sort because it's just like where you're staying and what the people you encounter with. So what was it like designing for like a major league team like that?
Mhm. Yeah, like I said, again, it was not just one team, it was lots of them, right?
Yeah.
And I'm close to Atlanta, but I think being from Alabama, Atlanta is like a completely different world. It's like yeah, they like 2 different worlds. I've always
Mhm.
been a New York person, honestly. When I did this project, I actually lived in New York.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yeah, I've been up north. I lived in New York and then I lived in Connecticut. Um, their offices are actually in New York, like MLS. For me, it was more about like global, because
Yeah.
soccer or football is a global thing and it's connected like all over. And
Mhm.
a lot of the players, if they're not like older players from like other leagues, they're like newer guys trying to get a chance. And I feel
Mhm.
like with soccer players, like it's so many steps that they have to take in such a hustle to just grind it out. Cause a lot of Americans don't necessarily know about MLS or stuff, but I always been like a David Beckham fan and he played for LA Galaxy. So
Mhm.
it was pretty cool to just see it in person and understand like how their league is, like what things are important. They flew me out to their All-Star game, so it's like one of the first All-Star games I was able to like go to and see and experience. So it was a very cool project to do, especially
Nice.
now with like soccer becoming bigger and you got more like players like owning soccer teams and stuff like that. It definitely like was a life-changing experience.
That's dope. That has to be because it's just um I talked to another designer and he designed the FIFA he got to design one of the FIFA World Cup posters. And I was like, that's crazy. So to see them reaching out to like freelance designers who are really like tastemakers in this new age of design, like people from my generation, it's I have hope for this. I have hope for design because it's like sometimes they tend to lean on the old masters of it, and there's nothing wrong with it. But I feel like companies like MLS, they want that fresh, brand new breath, like to come in and blow something up where they're just like, we would have never saw that. So, man, hats off on that because that was a dope piece. And I will definitely um, post one of your jerseys up here so people can see what they missed out on. So let's talk about your name is your resume. So explain that to us. What does that mean to Tip? What does that mean for someone coming in looking for a freelancer and they just see Tip? What does that look like?
So I was like, so not that I'm not a freelancer, but like I wouldn't quite say I was a freelancer in a way. But so I say this as designers in general, right? Like when I say your name, it's more so your reputation and how people know you and the people that you've impacted, inspired, and helped. So for me, it's like Tip or Judah or Middleton or however people would identify me at certain times in life of how they met me.
Mhm.
How I made them feel, like how I worked with people, the work I put out, like how I put out the work, um, the respect I show to other people. I feel like that makes it break a designer because I've seen designers that have been great designers, but like bad attitudes, bad personalities. So when you're trying to hire new people, or when I have looked for freelancers, like somebody might be super talented, but maybe they're like very emotional sometimes and they like post a lot of like stuff on the internet that just seems like not like the right vibe.
Yeah.
Or, you do see people going back and forth because maybe somebody stole their design. So
Mhm.
understanding how people handle that, just how they are as a person.
Mhm.
So when I say like your name is your brand, it's like when you walk into the room and how you deal with people, like most of the jobs I've gotten are based off of like my name and how other people have known me and how they've worked with me and the work that I put out and how they felt about me. Because I believe you can always make a good designer a great designer, but it's hard to make a bad person a good person.
Mhm.
So especially with the young generation where everything is like for social media and for shows, sometimes it's just like when you're in a work environment, especially some jobs I've had where like you can't really share everything or you can't really expose everything. Or like I said, I've worked with some designers where like I've had projects that have had to be cut or like not continued and they may have been very upset or said certain things that just made it like almost impossible for me to work with them again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know we talked about this a little bit earlier about designers encountering burnout. So how can a creative show up consistently without burning out? Because you said you don't need to be famous, you just need to be visible. So could you break that down for us?
So I'll say it like this. Like some people will work 9 to 9 every day and put out bad work. But like if we're thinking about basketball or football, right? Like if you got one good game and you show up like a Odell Beckham and one catch, sometimes that's all you need.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of work that is put into that. But
Mhm.
sometimes when you're overworking, you're like constantly trying to get that one catch or constantly trying to put out a lot of work, you might actually dilute your value.
Mhm.
So I'll say like for me, it's always important to take a vacation, to take time off, to get away from my computer, to not focus on design, to do music or travel, just finding hobbies outside of it because again, you can get burnt out. especially like college football, because they're recruiting constantly. Like I said, I started
Yeah.
with Auburn. It's like recruiting graphics and stuff. And so coaches, they want something every day, every minute, every hour. They constantly trying to like, keep up with the other school. And I can only imagine what they grind. It's like nowadays. So it's more so like if your mind and your soul isn't together, then your work isn't gonna be there. So I think it's good to take that Friday and Saturday or Monday and Tuesday day off to just vibe out and then get back at it. So understanding that it's a balance.
Mm, okay. In that balance, do you find it hard? Let me see. Are you more in that balance? Are you running into the issue of, have you ever run into the issue of being more of like a people pleaser versus you being more intentional for yourself?
As far as like work,
Yeah. Where it's like, I know this person is taking care of me, but I can't give them what they need right now. But shoot, I'll suck it up and do it anyway. Or have you ever encountered anything like that?
or I'll say this is probably why I wouldn't clarify myself as like a freelancer because I I've done work for people in the past where it's like people really be wanting a lot of changes, and that could be a lot of work. Like for me, the designs are easy. It's the changes and the perception of what somebody wanted versus what they told me.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's probably why I don't really do freelance work like that.
Uh-huh.
Because working with individuals, they'll try to have access to you constantly. As far as like working at my job or something, I'm usually pretty good with projects of like a, having enough time to turn things around, but
Mhm.
also being, like, very, like, vocal with my bosses or coworkers and stuff if I do need extra time.
Mhm.
But the freelance stuff, like, that's why I said I wouldn't even wanna classify as that because I know some freelancers are just, like, working very hard to push out stuff because individual people is like it's me and you just direct
Mhm.
versus when it's a company, it's a little bit more of a cushion and organizational scale, so it's not as like intertwined in a way. Like even with the MLS project, it wasn't like a like we had a hard deadline because
Yeah.
just, we had to get stuff prepared to be sent out, to be printed. I mean, you got like hundreds of jerseys that need the files delivered to XYZ, so it's a deadline.
Mhm.
They gave me a whole lot of time to get that done. Allocated time in for revisions, changes, and stuff like that. So yeah, like I am such an artist and such a creator that if I feel like the vibe isn't right, like, I can't even do the work.
Gotcha.
I can't even be a people pleaser with it because something in my brain will not even let me create the work.
Mhm.
Like, it's almost like I'll say that's probably been one of the issues that I maybe have had in my career or, like, if the vibe wasn't right, like, I can't even create the same art. It's like I go from being Erykah Badu to, like, something you never heard of because
Yeah.
my spiritual stuff, it just won't even let me spit out nothing good. Like, I
Mhm.
have to be unbothered and just straight chilling. So, yeah.
Right. I think more creatives should follow that path. Like, if it don't sit right in your spirit, man, just let it go because it's probably gonna cost you more in physical energy than it is. Like your mental capacity is gonna take a hit rather than your bank account.
Exactly. It's kind yeah.
So I know you mentioned in your book, Free Game, the importance of networking and networking the right way. So, what does authentic, intentional networking look like to you? And what are some tips you can give the designers coming behind you? Because they're graduating every day, they're coming out every day, they're on LinkedIn, adding people and commenting on stuff. So, what is the way you think it could be done the correct way?
For me, of like networking, it's really about respect, wanting to like gain knowledge and learning and not making it super transactional, even though one day it might be transactional.
Mhm.
But I mean, even with the MLS stuff, so the guy who connected me with that, we essentially networked and we never like had deep conversation, but we knew of each other because
Gotcha.
the black community in design is so small. So it's like
Mhm.
he just knew my brand, he knew my name, he knew my work. Sharing your work on social media, whether that's LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, the more you share your work, people start to understand who you are, right? And
Mhm.
following people that create work that inspires you, work that you like, commenting under that stuff. That's another form of networking. You got a lot of design conferences now, so meeting
Yeah.
people in person, building those relationships,
Mhm.
just really supporting people when it's of no value to you.
Mm.
And I think eventually it'll pay off. Like just being kind to another person, saying, "Hey, like your work really inspired me." My job at ESPN, I got from a guy who I followed on Twitter because I really like this work and just followed him for months and then just finally reached out, say, "Hey, if you ever had a job opening, like just let me know." And one day he reached back out. So
Wow.
it's always keeping doors open because the internet is a very powerful place. One tap message, you never know where you could go. I mean, I've been able to go to like the Portland Trailblazers game. I've been to the Knicks games just because somebody knew me from Twitter and they reached out, we connected. I had a lot of opportunities. Most of my opportunities in life are essentially networking. And I'm not a big people person. I just passionate about my work, so I
Mm.
shared and stuff like that. I believe what you vibrate out will come back to you.
Is that what you mean by relationships are your currency?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what you said, yeah. Because I totally understand that because I think this generation's having that hard heart to heart of understanding, like, you can't just cut people off because they disagree with you. Like,
Exactly.
in the world of, designing and creating or even being a fine artist, critique is important. You need it. You can't sit here and design something, post it, and then be like, "Why do you guys not like it?" It's like, you do you want somebody to be honest with you or fluff you? Because there's
Yeah.
professionals out there that will see your portfolio and laugh and put it in the trash. Like,
No, so I always say this. A lot of people confuse design and art, and they're not the same thing. Because design, you are basically a service worker to somebody else.
Mhm.
But art, it's objective, and it's just whatever you do, it's the truth in it. And sometimes I think it's very difficult because we all are artists at heart.
Mhm.
But when you're designing, you have to understand to let it go, to not take it personal. I mean,
Mhm.
I think it really takes an evolved designer and an evolved person to get to that point because sometimes the critiquing can feel like a personal attack
Mhm.
versus it's just a work because essentially the work is your livelihood, it's how you eat, right? So
Mhm.
if I say I don't like this, I don't like that, like you may take it more personal than what it is because it could be like the difference between you being able to pay your rent or not. So
Mhm.
it gets very sticky. It took me like some time to fully understand that and not get so attached to the work, which is why I am a big advocate of like personal work,
Mhm.
personal time doing design, like where it's not paid, where no money is involved, because I think one has to, at least for myself, has to have some type of work. They have full control of it, no changes, no nothing, no critiques, just this is my art, but it's also design.
Mhm.
Versus when you work for a company and stuff, I don't own any of it. It's not mine. Like it's,
Mhm.
I mean, honestly, with the MLS stuff, there were probably another 2 or 3 designs that I probably would have preferred over the one that they selected,
Mhm.
but they selected that one, and so it's kind of out of my hands. So it's like taking 5 things that you love and handing it to somebody else, and they pick the thing, that you might not have picked, and just being okay with it.
Yeah.
oh, yeah. That's definitely happened a few times in life as a designer. So, Tip, I appreciate our time. Just got a few more quick questions for you. I know you talked about being a mentor and having mentees. What advice do you have for beginning designers who are, waiting for that big opportunity instead of starting small?
I'll say in life, there are no big opportunities. They're all small. They're all boring. Like everything is like the basic fundamentals until it hits the world. Then it becomes big. Then it becomes a bigger thing. Like I go back to sports, right? Like doing drills is boring. You know what I'm saying? But when that drill comes through and you're able to do a play that changes the game, saves the game, then it becomes big. So I think waiting for like the big project or the big role or the big design or the big photo, like you're gonna essentially be chasing something that can never actually fulfill.
Mhm.
Versus if you're a new designer, my main advice is to actually read books on like typography and layout and color and composition. Cause it don't matter what you're doing, that's always gonna be related. Whether you fashion design, graphic design, product design, sports
Mhm.
design, You need to know typography, you need to know space, and you need to know elements, you need to know primary, secondary elements and how it affects like visually. Like just really take some time to immerse it. And then my second advice would be always learn the new tools because I use Figma like 90% of the time. And I grew up on Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, and they aged out so much for me in my career. And I had to learn Figma in like a week for my new role. Um, Being able to adapt and adjust is really like the most important thing you could do, and not being so set in like not changing. Because I've seen like some really great designers kind of get left behind in the world because they weren't able to adapt.
All right, so here's our quick fire off the top of the head. 5 questions. Give us your best answer. So number 1 is best city to live in since you've been so traveled.
Atlanta,
Atlanta. Okay. All right. Second one up. Which city has the best food that you've eaten?
New York.
Now, out of curiosity, what in New York stood out to you?
I love Chinese food, so Chinatown is like my go-to, like constantly. Like they got dumplings and all of that for like $5, like a whole pack. And also you can get every type of like authentic food. I eat a lot of Jamaican patties and stuff like that. Oxtail, Brooklyn. Yeah, New York.
Okay.
Yeah, so all of that.
If you could live with only one shoe for the rest of your life, which shoe is it?
Ooh, that's very difficult. Of all my shoes in the house, I got 2 answers for that. If I could live with one shoe that I just sleep with, I never wore, it'll probably be my Jordan 4s, like light in the yellow, because they just a beautiful shoe. But if I only had one shoe I could walk, run in, wear and everything, it would be the New Balance 1906R. Cause they're the most comfortable shoes I ever had, like, and go everything.
Yeah. Okay. I have to start collecting New Balances. I'm more Asics versus New Balance. I like
They
Asics.
close, they close, got Aces, but the New Balances is very close. Like I don't know what the New Balances, yeah.
Okay. One brand you could redo and tell their story.
Reebok.
Ooh.
Yeah, I feel like they got history. They had AI. Like they got Angel Reese. Like they got the swag and the logo kind of fire. Like I think they got the opportunity and they got Shaq. They just making it kind of lame. Like I think they if they added a little bit more sauce with it, it could really be something serious. Yeah.
If, okay, last question. If money was not an option, what is the one thing you need to have in your design studio?
If money was not an option,
Yeah. What's that one thing in your design studio?
I just gotta have a MacBook. To be honest, like
Really?
yeah, that's. I mean, a MacBook has changed my life. Like that's all I ever needed, really. Like MacBook and Wi-Fi. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So before we wrap it up, what's one thing you know now that you wish you would have known 10 years ago?
I would say just fully being your authentic self and like being okay with your work or your style or even your look. Not looking like anybody else. Is not following the rules of others. And then I would say really being heavy on understanding like the industry standards of stuff. So you know where others are. So like really like being okay being your style, you know what I'm saying? If you're playing basketball, like if you're a street baller, like do your street baller stuff. But really understand the rules of the game or how the ref will call it. Because once you know the rules of the game and how the ref will call it, then you can do anything in the realm of that world.
What does success look like for you now?
How many people I can impact in my life?
You know what? I had another one, but that one's dope. That we gonna end it on that one. That one is that is the truest statement ever because I feel like people need to really understand the relationship is currency.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like this, I mean, I've been a lot of places. I've made a lot of money. I have a good life, but all of those things can make one feel empty compared to the impact that you have on others. And the impact could be them just seeing you exist, because then it makes them know that they could be that. And then I've seen like, I mean, I maybe know 5 or 6 Black women that work for NFL teams, and I didn't know that 10 years ago, you know, so just seeing that or the Hornets, they got this Black designer and he just did a jersey that I love. Like being able to see stuff like that is like, you know, I didn't see that 10 years ago or 20 years ago to even know that exists, or just other Black students or other cultures like getting into sports design and becoming a big thing. Anybody I can impact on and give some knowledge or just some free game, like for me, that's all life is essentially telling my story and giving people as much information as I have learned. And sometimes you learn information from other people.
Tip, where can they find you?
I am on Twitter at Tigatip, so TIGGATIP, on Twitter, and then on LinkedIn at Judah Middleton. That's JUDAH, Judah, not Judas, Middleton, and that's pretty much where they can find me.
Okay. Well, thank you guys so much for listening to our podcast today. My name is Justin Robinson. I have the skilled master, jewel dropper, creative mind blown out of this world, Judah Tip Middleton. And this is the Art School Graduate Podcast. We'll catch y'all later. Peace.
Appreciate it.